Hey, it's Christopher, and welcome back to watching, winning, and wrecking. So, race number one of the round of 12 is in the books, and the result much the same as race one and the round of 16. Denny Hamlin comes through and takes the checkered flag for the second time in 2021, and second win of the playoffs. So impressive way to start the playoffs. Good way to start around 12. And Jeff Burton called this win. Well, he hyped it up. He called for what it was. That, in his opinion, now Hamlin is a proverbial favorite to dethrone Larson for the Cup Series championship in 2021. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think it's Hamlin is risen to the occasion. Yes, he is now a two-time race winner. Had a good season. I think you go back and the season has never been in question, and Hamlin hasn't had the credentials or the capability to compete for the championship and be a top name in the sport. We all know he is. We all know what he can do. He's a Hall of Fame talent. But let's not get too carried away here. It's two wins and a team that is finding its groove at the right time. And it's right. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. And they're in line for a really strong finish. Give them that. To go ahead and say off of two wins that this person is the proverbial favorite to win it all, I'm gonna have to say that's putting the cart before the horse. So no finish worse than ninth in the four playoff races. He led 137 laps here. Finally wins at Las Vegas, breaking a drought at 20 career starts that has spanned. So it was a good win for him. The win is a 46 career win for him in the Cup Series. He's now tied with on the all-time wins list for 17. With Buck Baker, so he's closing in on 50, and that's pretty incredible. He might not say it's an issue at all, and it might not be for some, but I think not winning a championship and having that many wins. I know Mark Martin won 40. Carl Edwards won 32, I believe. No title. But I think if you win this many and you're not a champion, it doesn't ruin the legacy, and he's going to make the Hall of Fame based on his 3 Daytona 500 wins and this many wins in his career. And I think it's nice to have that championship. It just solidifies it. It validates that you are one of the greatest in the sport. This is JGR's 195th Cup win, so don't think they're going to get 200 by the end of 2021. But in line next year for a milestone 200 wins for that organization, and they've won 3 of the 4 playoff races. So this organization will talk a lot about Hendrick, and Hendrick is the toast of the town, we all know. But this team's coming up in the clutch when they need to, and I don't think anyone would ever write up Jukich Racing. Hendrick has had such a great year, and it feels at times for certain Joe Gibbs teams weren't clicking. Kyle Busch had his struggles. Seems like Denny Hamlin couldn't get going. Martin Truex Jr. started hot, kind of faded off. Christopher Bell's been like a yo-yo, up and down. So you can't really say that JGR has been. All 4 have won. Yes, all 4 cars have won in the organization, much like Hendrick. But it just feels like Hendrick's had more razzle-dazzle, more pizzazz. They've been consistently a better team this season. This is Hamlin's 21st top 10 of 2021, tying last year's total. 16 top 5, so 3 away from surpassing last year's total. So the numbers are fairly the same. So he had a good year last year, was in the Final 4, had a chance to win at Phoenix. But again, a lot of people like to call this choking, but seems to not win when it counts. And despite the 2 wins, the total, people would look at this as an awful year. The numbers are fairly similar, and he's seeking his 4th Final Four appearance in 8 years. So that's saying that Hamlin has been fairly consistent. He's had an opportunity to become the champion. I think his best opportunity, as you said many times, I still think was 2010. Now he goes to Talladega where there is no pressure to win. He doesn't have to go out here and do anything to extend himself at all. He can just race this race, bring home the car in one piece, but can't get caught up in anything. And if he does, it doesn't matter. He's in. But he could go for more here, another win, and he could just really, I think, back up Jeff Burton's proclamation that he is going to win this championship. And a lot of people online, you know, the TMZ portion, like I like to say with Amanda, sometimes Amanda really loves sort of the gossip in NASCAR. You see a lot of people on Instagram and other social media platforms really talking a lot about his personal life and how that has fallen apart. And you have the issues with 2311, his issues with the Zone 11 car not winning. I think you can't really say this is the reason why he's winning. He gets, I guess, I don't know if it's a divorce, but him and his partner go separate ways, and you have him now in a position to become the champion. I'm not going to go as far as saying that's the actual reason why Hamlin has struggled. I think that's other reasons internally that we don't know about. And maybe he was just biding his time. I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to speculate on things I don't know about or really care to know about. But I'm going to go to the NASCAR report now. And we're going to read the masses, what they thought of Hamlin's win at Las Vegas. And JR 88.7 says the race sucked a bit. NGL, I guess that's not gonna lie. Come on, just say not gonna lie. Why do you have to put NGL? G-Man 2121 says Hamlin won ? I knew I could have stayed asleep. It was a snoozer, yeah. I'm not gonna. Amanda fell asleep during the race too, so I'm not gonna lie. It was a snoozer. I think you had more going on the other channel with the 49ers and the Packers. It turned out to be quite a football game. JR 88.7 says Chase almost had it, but came up close. I think he kept short. He meant to say no race action, really just green flag racing all the way. And then the G-Man 2121 response to JR 87.7. I looked at Chase's stats during the middle of stage 3. Thought he had the win secured, but came up close. Again, came up close. I think they mean he came up short. Came up close. Feels like a grammatical error, but he got he's, but he forgot the apostrophe on the S. He's pretty good at Talladega, so hopefully he wins. And JR 87.7 says just a snoozer race overall, and then G-Man 20. Only two on the tread here that are talking to each other. To JR 88.7, any race with a JGR car winning is a huge snoozer. Let's hope all four, well 5 if you include Bubba, get wrecked out of Dega next week. Something tells me Ryan Blaney might get that race. Well, could be right. Ryan Blaney is some pretty good career statistics at Talladega. And we all know Hamlin will choke at the end of and not win the ring. Well, I think he means the trophy, but yeah, he gets to get a ring. But he's right; it could happen. And then G-Man 2020 corroborates that. It's just true. And then we have Henry 24257 to JR 887. The package is ass. Okay, whatever the fuck that means. So A Connellan 19 says to JR 88.7. The epitome of 1.5 mile mediocrity. Well, you could be right. And then R Frib 1 says, bro, the race wasn't even over. And then Jonah _8, at least it wasn't Chase Elliott. So he's not a Chase Elliott fan from that comment there. And then Caden _ Seth to Jonah. Yes, thank God for that. And then Campfire Brews says to Jonah, I wish it was I hate Denny. That's pretty strong. And he's got the flipping the bird emoji. So you have John WM38 to Jonah. Damn right. Donnie Bowie says to Jonah, my thoughts exactly. And then we have Joey Logano 22. Again, here we go with Mickey again. This Mickey Mouse shit. Mickey, he's got the clown emojis. NASCAR wants him to win the title, don't they? But you left up the question mark, so are you really asking the question, are you? And then we have NASCAR fan 548 says, don't care. And then Jose Pedro Rodriguez Hernandez with boo. And 4 thumbs down emojis. So we'll leave it at that. I think consensus or this race was not a good race. And no one was really too ecstatic with the finish. Hamlin's a heat seeker this year. Eh? He's generated a lot of heat. I don't know if it's the fact that people are reading into his personal life or the fact that 2311 has been a bit of a disaster. Maybe people just don't like Denny Hamlin. That's possibly another reason for all the hate, but not a popular result nonetheless. And Chase Elliott gets himself a second place finish, leads just the 1 lap, his best finish in the 2021 playoffs. 2 top 5s in the last 3 races, so Chase is trending in the right direction. He's got some good tracks coming up for him. The Roval, we all know about that. Could have had Hamlin if I think there was a few more laps left. Elliott is now 6th in the points, 22 points above the cut line. Pretty good shape, but Talladega is a wild card, as we know. Got to keep that car clean and not getting caught up in someone else's mess. Just run your race. And the Roval is the place where I think he is going to excel at. He's going to make the round of 8. I'll be so confident to say Chase Elliott will have position in the round of 8 secured for him. But if he can get the win on the Roval next Sunday, he is going to tie Tony Stewart 8 road course wins in his career. It's probably going to shatter that record next season. Boatload of road course races on the schedule again for next year. Chase Elliott, for whatever reason, has become the road warrior. I'm not talking about Hawk and Animal, but he is fantastic. Or Mad Max. If you're into the Mad Max series, the Road Warrior. Chase Elliott is the Road Warrior. He's got to get a poster with you got to cut out Mel Gibson's face and paste Chase Elliott on there, and then that's your art. If you're going to post a picture, if you want to, Chase Elliott, the Road Warrior. Kyle Busch, a 600 career start, 3rd place finish, the best of the 2021 playoffs, and his 5th top 5. Excuse me, and his first top 5 since Watkins Glen in August. It's been a bit of a dry spell for Kyle. Busch is 35 points above the cut line going into Talladega and setting his sights on his 6th Final Four appearance in 8 years. So Kyle Busch has been automatic, as we know. Tremendous driver, but Talladega, he was not looking forward to going there. And he was asked in his interview, he said if they can walk out of there pretty much with the car one piece, that would be a good day for them. As he said, if you finish 12th on the lead lap, that's considered a win at Talladega, but not one of his best tracks at all. Kyle Busch is... that's why I don't like Talladega being on this part of the schedule in the playoffs, because again, there's a lot of talk about NASCAR manipulating the finishes of these races, and kind of, again, are you going to read the conspiracy theories that much? I'm choosing not to, but it makes you think, keeps you on your feet, thinking about, well, maybe there is some validity to this, because you have Talladega in the middle of the second round. This could destroy a lot of people's hopes today when this race goes. You have Kyle Busch, who seems like in very good shape, but has not done well at Talladega. The last top 5 he's had there was in the spring of 2017. Last win, spring of 2008. You have to go back. That's his first year with Joe Gibbs Racing. So this is going back a ways here. Not looking forward to it, but can Kyle keep it out of the fence and get himself a good finish here? Well, we'll see. But another JGR driver who's probably not looking forward to Talladega is Martin Truex Jr. He gets a 4th place finish here in Vegas. Just stellar playoffs for him. Truex is 3rd top 5 and 2 4th place finishes at Darlington. Excuse me, he has a 3 top 5s here, so it is here. And then finish at 4th at Darlington, and then he wins Richmond. So he's having a really stellar playoff. 31 points above the cut line. Same thing with Kyle. Looks like to be in pretty good shape. I think he is going to make a Final Four appearance. But seeking his 5th Final Four appearance in the last 8 years. But he's 0 for 33 at Talladega and has not had a top 5 there since the spring of 2015. So that's his 2nd year with Furniture Row Racing. But brutal racetrack for him. Keep the car clean. Same idea. Don't get too adventurous. Try to I'm not saying they should hang out on the back all day, and I think that's going to be a strategy of some of these playoff drivers who are really significant amount of points above the cut line are going to hang out in the back, and then just, it's go time. Maybe with 20 laps to go, start to make your move. There's no reason to over-race this racetrack or over-race the competition. There's so much racing that it would be ill-advised to do something silly that could put your whole season in the toilet bowl. It would not be advisable for anyone to do that. Ryan Blaney, a 5th place finish here, 2nd consecutive top 5 finish. Good playoffs for him. He's been at tracks the last 3 weeks that have not really been that kind to him in previous years, but is patient and gets himself a good finish, and I think that's the true mark of a champion. And Blaney is very much in the thick of the title fight here at this point. He's 5th in the points, 24 points above the cut line. Has a pretty good record at Talladega. 2 top 5 finishes away from a career high for him. 2 top 10 finishes away from a career high. So this is a career year for Blaney, as this is the first season where he's won multiple races. Has never made the Final Four. This could be his first year to do it, and Penske's really legitimate title contender at this point. Won the fall race at Talladega in 2019, so he knows how to get it done here. Penske has won 3 of the last 4 races at Talladega, 2 for Blaney, 1 for Keselowski, and Keselowski won there in the spring of 2021. So if you're looking at Blaney's race at Talladega, it's pretty simple. He's got a good amount of points above the cut line. He's going to likely make the next round, the round of 8, but the round of 4, that's when it's going to get interesting. Should he qualify for that for the first time would be huge for Blaney. But either way, Blaney's had a good season, but I think you don't want a good season, you want a great season. And I think Blaney's at that point where he's coming into his own. New crew chief next year, Jonathan Hasler. Todd Gordon is stepping away. That was announced this week. Hasler's worked with the Wood Brothers and has been crew chiefing for Matt DiBenedetto. And the results have been really well for Matt DiBenedetto, who, if you're still interested in knowing about him, said this week on SiriusXM he has nothing lined up. A lot of speculation. He'll end up with Kaulig. Didn't happen. That goes to Daniel Hemrick. I still think the Penske 22 could be in play for him. Austin Cindric stepping aside, going to the Cup Series. There could be something on the trucks available for him. Kyle Busch Motorsports. It's also been talked about in certain circles that John Hunter Nemechek is going to race with Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series next year. Matty D, no plans in place, but maybe he's just playing it close to the bone and close to the vest, and will make his plans known when he actually knows that it's something. But it's got nothing at the moment. But Tyler Reddick, a 6th place finish, 16th top 10 of 2021. Leads 5 laps here, was playing on a pit strategy, hoping that Hamlin would pit first, so he goes ahead, stays on the track. I think that's what really cost him this race, because he looked like he had a race-winning car. Really strong night for him. Good to see this out of this team, that they are continuing to build for the months ahead. They know they're not in the playoff picture anymore. They got eliminated the previous week, but there's no fight there's still a lot of fight, in Tyler Reddick. He refuses to quit. and was really playing this, and great paint scheme. It was nice to see the Caterpillar colors. Hot Wheels was on the side of the quarter panels. Nice white and black car. Really, I think the paint scheme of the night for me. Tyler Reddick is a future superstar in this sport. Let's call it for what it is. It's really wanting to get that first win, and Talladega could be that place. RCR has had a lot of success on the plate tracks in recent years, so Tyler Reddick is somebody you want to keep your eyes on for sure as a possible winner for Talladega, but a good effort at Las Vegas. And Brad Keselowski, a 7th place finish here, 3rd top 10 to start the playoffs. And no one's talking about that. Everyone's just talking about how him and Penske, the marriage is dissolved. This is the final weeks of him as a Penske driver. And there's still that emphasis, and I think that's so unfair that he's got nothing to fight for. But come on. Just stop for a minute. This guy's had a really good playoff. He's 8th in the standings. He's 4 points above the cut line. He's a 6-time Talladega winner. He's going into a place where this is his wheelhouse. This is a place where he got his first career win for James Finch. Everyone remembers. The last driver to sweep Talladega, he won in the fall, was Jeff Gordon in 2007. I think Keselowski's a favorite going into this race. Not Denny Hamlin, like somebody's saying. Denny Hamlin's the clear-cut favorite. No, I think Brad Keselowski's got a lot of racing left. He'd like to leave Penske as a champion, and it's very possible. Dodge left the sport in 2012. What does Brad Keselowski go out and do? He wins Dodge a championship on their way out the door. Can he win his championship and win another one for Penske going out the door? That's very possible. I'm not going to rat off Brad Keselowski like a lot of people have. Stop focusing on next year. He knows what's happening next year. But there's still a lot to fight for this year. And it's, again, not going to close the casket on him just yet. Kurt Busch, an 8th place finish and a 750 career start, 11th top 10 of 2021. Just really, I feel gutted for him that poor finish those 2 poor finishes at Richmond and Bristol ended his quest for a title for Chip Ganassi, but still fighting the good fight, not giving in. Kurt Busch is a consummate professional and wants to send this Ganassi team out strong. Maybe just have a win in him still. Who knows? Kevin Harvick, a 9th place finish, 10th place in the points, 7 points above the cut line. Below the cut line at this point, sorry. Solid but not great playoff. No finish is worse than 9th. And Stewart-Haas Racing only has 1 Talladega win in their existence. That's in the fall of 2018 with Eric Almirola. Can Harvick run a clean race here and try to get his way into the round of 8 with less than stellar statistics? As we all know, he's winless. And I think that the analysts and broadcasters drive that point home. They're putting a nail in the board so much that you're driving the point that this guy's in one. We know he hasn't won, but he's still competing. He had a really good round 1 to get to this point. 9th place is nothing to hang your head about. I know he wants to win. There's that burning desire to win. And he could get there. But Talladega is another place where if you're in that position below the cut line, you have to play defense, not offense. Kevin Harvick is a smart enough driver and a cagey veteran that can get the job done. And we might actually see him in the winner's circle on Sunday afternoon. Just saying, I'm putting it out there. Put it out to the universe, and it might happen. Kyle Larson, a 10th place finish, leads 95 laps here, but could not duplicate the strong run he had in the spring. And worst finish of the playoffs. He's 57 points above the cut line. Likely to make the round of 8 on points should he not win the next 2 races. And barring complete disaster, he's in. And can he turn his luck around? 4 of the last 5 races at Talladega have ended in a crash for him or engine failure. And following a engine failure was in the spring. But his best Talladega finish was 6th in the fall of 2016. So I guess Larson finds himself really now for the first time looking up at Denny Hamlin that he's got a fight on his hands here. He's going to have to race hard to get back that point lead. But I think that shouldn't be the goal. I think the goal is moving on to the next round, not to worry about where Hamlin, where he is in the standings, but not a great track for him. Maybe he's going to hang out in the back. That could be the best method for this team if they plan on getting the win on Sunday. And Joey Logano, 11th place finish, really average playoff for him. One top 5 at Richmond. Really much made of his return to Talladega. He went airborne in the spring. Last 2 Talladega races have ended in crashes. But I think everyone is glossing over is the fact that he's a 3-time Talladega winner. He's 6 points above the cut line at this point. And can he make an impact on at this race? And could this be the race that puts the nail in his playoff coffin? I don't know. I think much is so made of him and his complaints. He was very outspoken about the racing at Talladega, much like you're going to hear every time you go to Talladega. You're going to have everyone outspoken because it's not the safest place to be running. It's not. I've seen a lot of disaster in recent years there, and they like to show old clips, I think, going into these races. But then again, everyone keeps forgetting how critical this race can be for these title contenders. And then you tend to see who could pull up the upset, and it's very possible. This race has been won by non-playoff drivers in the past. Jay McMurray comes to mind. Matt Kenseth comes to mind. When they were not in the position to be title contenders, went ahead and won this thing. So that could wreak havoc on the playoff position right there. William Byron, an 18th place finish, leads 7 laps here, but a rough playoff for Willie B. He's 4 points behind the cut line. Finds himself having to play offense, a little bit of defense, but 2 consecutive top 5 finishes at Talladega, 4th in the fall of 2020, and he was the runner-up in the spring race. So this is a chance where, if you're him, Byron, pronouns, can get up there, sniff the lead, and just, let it all hang out. Go for it. You've got nothing to lose. If you somehow your car crashes, you end up in flames. You tried, and I think that's the whole point. He's going to have to race this really hard. The Roval is going to be a very difficult race to try to race in on points, whereas Bristol, not so much. So I think this is a real critical race. This is the season for William Byron right here. There's this race. And the same could be said for Alex Bowman, his teammate. It's 22nd place finish here, 13 points below the cut line. And the same thing again, he's going to have to fight adversity to race his way back in like Byron. Talladega is a make or break race for him if he wants to punch his ticket for the round of 8. But is it too much to overcome for these 2 young drivers at this point? And it's almost like we have 2 tiers at Hendrick Motorsports. We have the A team, which is Larson and Elliott, and the B team, which is Byron and Bowen. And that's no disrespect for Bowman or Byron. World-class drivers, or they wouldn't be driving for Rick Hendrick, which is the top team in the sport, in case you haven't noticed by now, or you're still new to the sport, that Hendrick is the Yankees, if this was the MLB. Hendrick is the Green Bay Packers or the Patriots of the NFL. They're the Montreal Canadiens or the Maple Leafs of NHL. They're the Lakers or Celtics of NBA. This is the top team, and comes a lot of responsibility racing for this team. And I think both young drivers have handled that responsibility gracefully, and have done a really good job in those cars and proved they belong there. But I think it could be a lot to overcome, and consistency has been the key for Bowman. I think making it to the next round, you just keep putting yourself in that position where you have to play from the back. You have to try to make sure that you race your race, but have a little luck. That's just not a position you want to be in. And until the 48 team and the 24 team can build that consistency on a weekly basis, I think their playoff ending here isn't such a bad thing. You regroup and you come back next year. But as I said in the spring, Bowman is a sleeper pick for the title, and he still could be if he survives this. But I'm saying it's going to be heartbreaking, but I think if this is the end of the road for him next week at the Roval, it's not a bad thing. It allows this team to concentrate their efforts on having a good season rest of the way, and 2022 could be a big year for Alex Bowman. Christopher Bell, 24th place finish. His playoff has been a complete disaster aside from his third place at Richmond. The 20 team has looked dreadful, as our friend Gordon Ramsay would say. Ghastly at times this year. And it all fell apart at Bristol. You know, he's hollering at the team, putting tires on it. He gets a taste of the playoffs, but I think Christopher Bell has a long way to go before we start talking about him being a real threat to anything and that has to do with the championship. And I might be an unpopular opinion, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Larson fan and I feel like he was in the wrong calling out Larson for their incident in the summer. You know, remember that. But I've seen as this generational talent, but I'm not seeing it yet. And you're running out of excuses. Okay, the first year with Levine family, satellite team for Joe Gibbs Racing. So essentially you're in Joe Gibbs equipment, but you're not. And in this 20 car, I haven't been wowed. Yeah, he won at the Daytona Road Course, but it didn't impress me. And nor should it. You have to impress me. I'm not the judge, jury, and executioner. I'm not the one that will make the decisions whether he stays in this 20 car or not past next year. But I think Joe Gibbs has to handle his younger talent better. This is a team that has given up on Daniel Suarez, have given up on Eric Jones. And I think there's more of an upside to those two individuals than this guy. 25 points below the cut line. Will have to rally hard if he wants to make the round of 8. His best finish at Talladega was 17 in the spring of 2021. But can he upset the field? And that's his only option at this point. I'm getting mixed up because Amanda keeps mixing them up. Amanda thinks Byron's Bowman, Byron's Bell, and Bell's Byron. There, I got that right. Say that fast 5 times, but I love you, Amanda, for that. I've not seen it. It's not a Christopher Bell hate show here. It's not. I'm not beating on the guy so badly, but I'm not convinced, other than upsetting the field at Talladega, he has any prayer at the Roval of making an end. It's going to be a lot for him to make up. But I think you're going to see next year, is this guy the real deal or not? Because one cup win, I'm just not seeing it. So I move on to the Xfinity Series. Josh Berry, this is the super sub, and the guy who's just really had a fantastic 2021. This is his breakout year. Leads 38 laps here, claims his second win of 2021 and of his career, and has really put on a good show in relief of Michael Annett. So he won in the Michael Annett car. 6 top 5s in 2021, and this team continues to, this driver and the JR Motorsports team is continuing to just make great strides, and I think this is, he should have been in the 8 car the whole entire season. I don't know what the Sam Mayer experiment was, but this team is gearing up for full-time in 2022. He's going to be a player in the title picture. You know that. Josh Berry has raced really well when he was racing for Jordan Anderson. He's raced well for Junior Motorsports, and he's now racing well on this car, which is the Junior Motorsports car, but not the 8 car, which he normally runs. And it's just really cool to see this late model driver become a player, and Dale Jr. is over the moon with this guy. He knew he had the talent. So Dale Jr. has been really responsible for making a lot of careers in NASCAR, and I think this Josh Berry is no exception. A great finish for him. And Justin Allgaier leads 90 laps. And that's the second time Berry has defeated a teammate in the thrill of victory, and that was Noah Gregson at Martinsville and Allgaier here. But Allgaier leads 90 laps. He finishes runner-up, 6th consecutive top 10 finish, 3rd consecutive top 5. So Allgaier is trending in the right direction. And 3rd in the standings, 38 points above the cut line. And can he finally break through and win this championship? His odds are looking really well. I know Dinger's had some issues. It's really going to come down to him, Dinger, and Austin Cindric in this title fight. But potentially insert this person in to that Final Four. Noah Gregson, third place finish. 11 top 5 of 2021. And just rounds out a podium finish for Junior Motorsports. Gregson, 37 points above the cut line, trying to become the fourth driver to win the title in the famed number 9 Junior Motorsports car. You know the other three, Reddick, Elliott, and Byron. And I think that's huge for Gregson. Should he win the title in this very car, that puts him in line for a cup ride. It has to. But Gregson is... I'm just going to take a drink here. Give me a moment. For as much as I've been critical of him, he's impressed me. A year that could have went sour, didn't start off so great. I thought Junior Motorsports should replace him. And here he is. He's getting hot when he needs to get hot, and he's really in the thick of this title fight. So I wouldn't count him out. Let's see, I can be proven wrong from time to time about people, can't I? Austin Cedric, a fourth place finish, 17th top 5 of 2021. In the lead following Las Vegas, 66 points above the cut line. He's all but safe to get to the Final Four, I think. Finished second in the spring Talladega race. See if he has that in him this trip, but third top 5 in the last 4 races, and it's getting red hot down the stretch. Daniel Hemrick, a 5th place finish in the final weeks for him as a member of Joe Gibbs Racing. 10th, 5th place finish in 2021. 34 points above the cut line going into Talladega, and he's finished 5th in the fall race at Talladega for Junior Motorsports last October. So we'll get to this now. I guess we'll let out... well, you already heard it, but I will talk about the notes. News and notes of the week here. And Daniel Hemrick is to drive for Colleague Racing in 2021. This is his 4th team since 2019, so he's bounced around a lot. Still in search of that career number 1. And it's a lot of flashes of brilliance at times, Daniel Hemrick. But much like I said it last year, if he didn't win in Joe Gibbs Racing, he's never going to win. Well, I think that's tenfold now the pressure for him with Colleague. He's joining a team that's been the flagship team of this organization, 11 car with Justin Haley. And Colleague has been responsible for turning the careers around of Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton was like an afterthought for most people prior to his arrival at Colleague. He's revived AJ Almondinger again from the dead. He was a title contender. He's been the top driver. Made careers for Ross Chastain and Justin Haley. And Justin Haley has been phenomenal. He goes to the Cup Series next year with Colleague. He's been running for Spire. Hemrick has to win here. I think he's out of excuses. And again, he's like a lot of the other guys I talk about here. Seems like a really genuinely good person. Great follow. You want to see him succeed. But why does he keep getting these opportunities? So clearly, somebody sees something in him. There's potential there. He's from Kannapolis, North Carolina. I think that's maybe where it comes from, the Dale Earnhardt connection. But he's no Dale Earnhardt. Let's put it that way. I like Hemrick. I like to see Hemrick win. I think it'd be great for him to continue his career. He wants to get back to the Cup Series at some point. That's possible, but you got to win in these lower tier series. And if you're not going to be able to execute and win in the Colleague cars, I think the chances of you winning are minimal. But apparently he was saddled with the news a couple weeks back that he will not be returning to the 18 car. Gets a call from Chris Rice, the general manager of Colleague Racing. They had a bit of a relationship from the past. As you know, they were an affiliate with RCR when Colleague first started out. So Hemrick probably was probably on their radar for a while. And he gets an opportunity to race with what is, hands down, the best team in the Xfinity Series at this point. So he's been afforded all these opportunities, but you have to start making good on those opportunities. And Daniel Hemrick, he could still win in the 18 car before the end of the season. But if he should not do that, there's extra pressure added to his shoulders next year. A lot of weight to be carrying for a driver who clearly just wants to win, but he has to put himself in that position. And there's only so much you can blame poor luck and misfortune on. And it comes down to your ability to get it done. And We'll move on to Brandon Jones now. 6th place finish. Consecutive weeks in the top 10, 10 points above the cut line going into Talladega. He finished 4th in the fall race in 2020 and has a 2nd place finish at Talladega in the spring of 2018. And another driver whose future is pretty much in doubt at Joe Gibbs Racing. He's going to have a really good few weeks of the season to end he could be in the title hunt. Who knows? But there's a desperate need of some good weeks ahead for him. I know he's got the sponsorship, the backing of Menards carries that with him. That's an advantage he has. But it comes down to performance. It's been a very up and down year for him. Haven't seen a lot out of Brandon Jones. Or can he put it all together? I know he's had some really rough luck, but has had good cars at times and has looked like a really driver that can take that next step to being a star. He's been around a long time and he's been good, but he's not great yet. AJ Almondinger, a 7th place finish here, 18th top 10 of 2021. Now finds himself 59 points above the cut line and 7 points behind Austin Cedric for the lead. He ran 3rd in the spring race at Talladega. The Dingers had a really good 2 months of racing, August and September. Very kind to him. Ty Dillon, an 8th place finish here, 3rd top 10 in 2021. First race for him at Jordan Anderson Racing. 3rd team for Ty this year he has driven for in the Xfinity Series in 21. His 5th top 10. And it's the 5th top 10 for Jordan Anderson Racing this season. So a team that's struggled with Corona protocol, kept missing races toward the beginning of the season, is finishing off nicely here. And Ty Dillon is still trying to find himself. He's been linked to the GMS Cup team. Not yet made official, but pretty rough year for Ty Dillon the last couple of years. He loses his Cup ride, but Germain as 2311 buys the assets of that team and just found himself floundering around doing substitution roles for Jount Brothers and Cup, and here in the Xfinity Series with Our Motorsports had a 5-race deal with Joe Gibbs Racing that really didn't generate anything. So it's nice to see Ty Dillon in the top 10. Justin Haley, a 9th place finish, 5th consecutive top 10 finish for the Kaulig driver, 17 points above the cut line, and pretty good shape to going into Talladega, as he has the winner twice there last year in 2020, swept the entire field, and has not finished worse than 8th in 4 career Talladega starts. So he swept last year, had a good one Daytona in August. So he's a good plate racer. I would like to finish off his Xfinity career really strong with Kaulig. And I think it's sort of a sleeper pick for the Final Four. Harrison Burton, a 10th place finish here. Final races for him at Joe Gibbs Racing. Extends his consecutive top 10 streak to 9. He's one top 10 away from setting the record that he set last year with 10 finishes in the top 10. He finished 10th in the spring race at Talladega, but he's 13 points above the cut line going into Talladega. So not completely safe, but Harrison Burton doesn't look like a championship contender this year. Just kind of finishing the year off strong would be good for him, and he will begin his next chapter of his career with the Wood Brothers in the famed 21 car 2022. Myatt Snider, 15th place finish, is now 10 points below the cut line going into Talladega, and he finished 9th in the spring race. Other 2 career starts at Talladega ended in wrecks, so not good for Myatt Snider going into a race where he's going to have to run really well. And not sure about his futures. Sheldon Creed announced to RCR. Does that mean Myatt Snider is no longer in that car? It's not been announced, but it's auditioning for a job, I think, in the next couple weeks, Myatt Snider. And Riley Herbst's a 33rd place finish. Day ends in a crash, 32nd points below the cut line, and he's finished 4th in the spring race. Like Snider, his other 2 races have ended in a crash, so not the best place Riley Herbst wants to go, behind the cut line. It's pretty incredible. He rallies to make the playoffs. Little assist from Michael Annett, injury-wise, but his future is pretty much in doubt, too, at Stewart-Haas Racing. I know he's got the Monster sponsorship backing him, but again, performance can go a long way. You can have all the sponsorship dollars you like, but teams sometimes want to get an investment on their return, and they want to win. But if he has that Monster sponsorship, he's going to be at some capacity in an Xfinity car next year. Guaranteed. Jeb Burton, 36th place finish. Big hit for his title hopes last week. just a tough time for him. And tough week. He loses the sponsorship from Nutrien AG Solutions. And then they get announced that Daniel Hemrick's going to be with the organization. So not a good week. It puts Jeff Burton's future very much in doubt at Kaulig. 27 points below the cut line. But on a positive note, he's the Spring Talladega race winner and 2 consecutive top 5 finishes at Talladega going into this race. Will likely need to win this championship to be, I think, in the Kaulig organization next year. But the last Kaulig driver to sweep Talladega was 2020, Justin Haley. So can he channel some of that same Talladega magic that his teammate had a year ago and sweep both Talladega races and maybe, again, save his career, whether it be with this team or another team? But more adversity for Jeff Burton. Jeremy Clements, a 39th place finish, now 36 points below the cut line. And this team works, they worked hard to get into the playoffs, but it just looks like their playoff dreams will go up in smoke. And Clements' best finish was 4th and 12th career starts at Talladega. Not really been a factor. He makes it in. It's nice to be a playoff driver, but Jeremy Clements has done very little to solidify his position among the top stars in the Xfinity Series in the playoffs this year. So move on to the Truck Series, and a historic day for Thor Sports. A 1-2-3-4 finish for them. Christian Eckes gets his first career win in 44 career starts. The former Kyle Busch Motorsports cast-off, running a limited schedule for Thor Sports this year, was let go last year in favor of Chandler Smith. And he leads 4 laps to get his first career win at Las Vegas. Ben Rhodes, a second place finish, leads 5 laps here. Second top 5 in the playoffs. And is starting to make good on it. Had a really strong season, but struggled a little bit. And gets himself in a good position here. Career high in top 10 finishes for him at 14. And is even though he's having these really strong runs and he's in the thick of things here, 2 points above the cut line. Can he sweep both plate tracks in 2021? As you know, he won at Daytona for the season opener, and his best finish at Talladega was 4th in the fall of 2020. Matt Crafton, a 3rd place finish. Strong playoff for him. No finish worse than 10th, 46 points above the cut line. Since Nashville, this team is running exceptionally well. It's a kind of a rebirth for Matt Crafton, the veteran. He's looking for that 4th championship. That would be an incredible feat to accomplish at any point in NASCAR, at any rate, whether it's the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Truck Series. Winning 4 championships is exceptional feat to accomplish. Johnny Sauter, 4th place finish. Strong end to this one miserable season for Johnny Sauter. 3 top 5s in the last 4 races. Still looking for that first win in over 2 years. Maybe Talladega could be the race where he can get back in the winner's circle. Dillon, a 5th place finish. 9th top 5 of 2021. 1 top 10 away from a career high for him. And the season goes on for him. Early exit from the playoffs, but had a really good year. I think it's a huge accomplishment of the Front Row Motorsports team. Brand new Truck Series team, and to have run this well. I'm not sure what his plans are for next year. As certain circles, there's been talk about an Xfinity team for the Front Row, and that could be where Todd Gilliland could find himself next year. But I hope he does not go to the Cup Series. I think that would be ill-advised to put such a talented driver, but an inexperienced driver in a lame duck role in the 38 car if Anthony Alfredo is to not be in that car next year. Just don't want to see that announcement that Todd Gilliland goes Cup racing. Not that he can't go Cup racing or he doesn't have the ability to, but he has to do it, I think, and better equipment and a better situation that will work for Todd Gilliland. Sturt Friesen, a 6th place finish here, 4 consecutive top 10 in the playoffs, 8 top 10s in 2021. He is 4 points above the cut line, and his best finish was 5th at Talladega in 2019. Grant Enfinger, 7th place finish, 3rd consecutive top 10. And finally, a little bit of stress off his shoulders that he'll be driving for GMS Racing in 2022. Finally, some consistency for a really talented driver that could be in line for the title if things were to align for him. And I think finally, at this point in time, GMS is a good place for him. Puts him in a title contending team. He'll be replacing Sheldon Creed. And I think this is a really good opportunity for a driver that, had he made the playoffs, was eligible, could have, talking about him running for the championship this year. Austin Wayne himself, an 8th place finish, second top 10 in a playoff race, and has reached a career high in top 10s at 4. Ryan Truex, younger brother of Martin Truex Jr., 9th place finish, his best finish since his 4th place finish at Daytona in February. And Austin Hill was knocked out of the playoffs a week ago, 10th place finish, his best finish since his win at Watkins Glen in August, just before the playoffs. So really some adversity for some of the playoff drivers. John Hunter Nemechek, 33rd place finish. And a tale of two playoffs for John Hunter Nemechek. He's 22nd at Gateway, 2nd at Darlington, and then he runs 3rd at Bristol. Then he has that miserable finish here and hasn't won since Pocono in June. So is there a little bit reason for this Kyle Busch Motorsports team to be stressed out? But comes into it, still the points lead into Talladega. Chandler Smith, 35th place finish. Day ends in a crash, and tough way to finish off what was really huge accomplishment a week ago, winning at Bristol, but 44 points above the cut line. Seems to be safe for the moment. And Sheldon Creed, 36th place finish. Day ends in a crash. Since the 2 wins to start off the playoffs has really cooled off. 24 points above the cut line. Still won't count Sheldon Creed out just yet, but really has tapered off in recent weeks. So some news and notes to finish up this podcast. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has announced that he will return for his 3rd season with JTG Daugherty Motorsports. And to date, he has 4 top 5 finishes, 6 top 10 finishes, best being 2nd twice at Talladega in the spring of 2020 and at the Bristol Dirt Race in March of this year. Stenhouse goes into his 10th season as a Cup regular. He has 2 wins to his credit in the Cup Series, both in 2017 at Daytona and Talladega. And the team is down to 1 car in 2022. As you know, Ryan Preece will not return to this team. And the team was likely chose him over Preece. I think a lot of people were upset that Ryan Preece wasn't chosen in favor of Ricky Stenhouse for, I think, experience reasons. Ricky Stenhouse has a little more experience in the Cup Series. Preece has a tremendous upside, but has yet to win the Cup Series race and has run okay at times in the JT Daugherty equipment. But the team has, trying to build some consistency. Had a little bit of speed in their cars. They'd like to get to that point where they can contend week in and week out. I just don't think Preece is at that level yet, and the sponsorship is a huge part of this. The Kroger Group, who sponsors, Nas also is a personal sponsor of Ricky Stenhouse. They're heavily invested in this team, and I think that's who they wanted behind the wheel of this 37 car is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 47 car, excuse me. I think he is in the 47, not the 37. But the team has that speed. I said they can build some consistency. He's had 22 top 20 finishes in 2021. Now you got to find a way to convert those solid finishes into great finishes that can garner you some top 10s and some top 5s on a more consistent basis. And this is a team that hasn't won since 2014. And Stenhouse hasn't won in 2017. So there's going to be that desire to want to break through and make this a successful partnership. But Stenhouse, a lot of people question him. Like, well, does he belong in Cup Series? There's a lot of talent there. And he's seen it from Stenhouse. He's got 2 wins. People can turn your nose at it. It's Talladega and Daytona. Yeah, it's Talladega and Daytona. But it's still 2 wins. 2 more than Preece had. Preece has none. And I think if this team is to remain a Chevrolet team, which all indication says it will, to find an alliance, I think they might run Hendrick chassis or engines, but to get that performance to the next level so you can compete. And now with the next gen car, it kind of puts everybody, I think, on level playing field. I could see really what Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has. He's really good at Bristol, as we know. He's had a lot of success there, the plate tracks. And even if he wins at the plate tracks, it doesn't really matter. It's getting this team into the playoffs. It's getting this team to where it needs to be. And I've had a lot of, like I said, flashes of brilliance out of this JTG Daugherty car. He could be a favorite at Talladega this week. Never count anyone out. But that is the future is secured for Ricky Stenhouse. So really, free agent-wise, Matt DiBenedetto is the best name on the market. So I think that's why a lot of people say, well, why didn't JTG Daugherty go a different direction and choose Matt DiBenedetto? Matt DiBenedetto hasn't won anything yet. As much as you want to hate on Ricky Stenhouse and call him Recky Stenhouse or whatever cute little nicknames Kyle Busch has for him, guy still won 2 races. And he's a winner. He's a 2-time Xfinity champion. So that's a lot being said. So I think him getting the nod over Ryan Preece or Matt DiBenedetto is justified. Ryan Newman also remains a free agent. I'm not sure where he'll wind up, but there's not a lot of seats left. So the pieces of the puzzle are starting to finally come together for some of the Cup teams for 2022. So Talladega, usually this is where I would do my 5 to watch. It's so wild and crazy at that racetrack that I can't even give you 5 to watch. But keep an eye on past winners like Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. Chase Elliott could very well win this race and win next week at the Roval. But if you're for upsets, Stenhouse, why not give him an opportunity? Matt DiBenedetto, maybe he gets his first win. That opens up some doors for him. Anthony Alfredo or Michael McDowell, the Front Row Motorsports team, does Michael McDowell have one more upset in him this year? Can Anthony Alfredo win in the Cup Series? And maybe that would get him an opportunity next year in 38 cars somewhere else, even maybe a full-time in the Xfinity Series, because I still think this is a driver that needs a little seasoning, a little polishing. It's not a slight on him. It's just don't think he was quite Cup ready this year. So that will do it here. I'm going to wave the checkered flag on this and just want to wish everyone a really good week and that you enjoy Talladega and NFL football on Sunday. Baseball playoffs coming up. Get a little cooler out. It's sweater weather now and won't be able to rock the shorts and t-shirt for too much longer. But just, again, do everything you do it with conviction and be the best you can be. And I'm really grateful that I have Amanda as my partner, and I love her lots. And she's the greatest person I've ever known, and I'm really glad that she chose me to be her partner. My work life is going well. I'm pretty busy there, trying to get back into physical shape here, condition. It's been a rough 2 years with this coronavirus wreaking havoc over society, and got to see a hockey game in person preseason on Wednesday night. It's okay. It's not the biggest hockey fan, but it still was nice to get out and do things and be in a live setting again. Not my first time I've done this since things have opened up, but it was the first time I've been to a hockey game in well over 2 years, and that was pretty fun. Just try to be kind to one another. I know this was a big day for my people on Thursday, that date, National Truth and Reconciliation of First Nations people in Canada. I hope everyone took time to remember our people. And I know a lot of people, I have a lot of non-native friends out there who don't quite understand, I think, what it's like to grow up in the reservation or grow up as a First Nations person. And it's not an easy task. No doubt it isn't. But you can't help how you're born and where you grew up. And I am happy that the government of Canada and non-natives across this country have realized the pain and suffering our people have gone through in the residential schools and just really cultural genocide. And it's hard. It really is. And I'm just grateful to be who I am, and that there's a lot of First Nation pride in me, and I'm really glad to be a member of the Mi'kmaq First Nation. And I just wanted to acknowledge that was a very important day, and it will always be an important day. Every day should be an important day for our people, but it's those type of days when we're recognized nationally, it's a pretty cool deal. And I think the non-native folks will continue to be educated, and I'm glad that some folks have come to me and asked me, tell me some creation stories, or tell me a little bit about your culture. And that's huge for me. That's paramount, because I absolutely I bleed white and red of the Mi'kmaq flag, and I love the Mi'kmaq flag, and I love being a Mi'kmaq person. And it's the greatest accomplishment, or the greatest thing I'll ever do in my life, is continue to be a proud member of the Mi'kmaq First Nation. And until next time on the Watching, Winning, and Wrecking podcast, I have a different format coming up for you. We'll see what I have in store for you next week. So we'll cover the aftermath of Talladega and then set up the Roval, which is the last race of the playoffs of round of 12. It is zipping on by. Soon we'll be crowning a champion at Phoenix, Arizona. It has to be Kyle Larson, right? It has to be. Well, it might not be, but I think it's going to be still. So until next time, this is Hey It's Christopher. You can follow me at Hey It's Christopher on Instagram, and also the show has an account as well. The Watching and Winning Wrecking podcast on Instagram, and you can also follow this podcast. Find it anywhere you find great podcasts, Spotify, if that's where you like to listen to your podcast. I think we're on Audible and Amazon. We are on the Podbean app. That's who it's the home of the podcast is Podbean, so you can always listen on Podbean, or just type into your Google machine Watching, Winning, Wrecking podcast. You'll sure to find us. I think we're on YouTube as well and on Google Podcasts. And until next time, I want to thank everyone for listening and hope you enjoy Talladega, and not to dislike it so much for all the wrecks and chaos, and just try to appreciate it for hopefully some good, clean racing. But I know better than that. We're talking about somebody's hurt feelings and someone with a tore-up race car. And I will see you next time on Watching, Winning, and Wrecking.